The Central Hubei operation was one of the engagements between the National Revolutionary Army and Imperial Japanese Army during the Second Sino-Japanese War. Known as the Central Hubei Operation, east and west of Xiang River, in Japan it is called The battle lasted from 25 to 30 November 1940. After the Battle of Zhaoyang Yichang in the summer of 1940, the Japanese controlled Aichang and Shashi. The Chinese controlled the area east and west of the Xiang River. Their lines extended from the southwest of Yuanan via Qingmen, north of Chengxiang, and the foothills of Tahangshan, to the area northwest of Suixian astride both banks of the Xiang River. The Wutang Mountains were on the right and the Tungpo Mountains on the left. In coordination with the guerrilla forces in the southeast, the Chinese repeatedly struck at the Japanese forces that had penetrated to Aichang. As a result, the Chinese believed that the Japanese forces at Aichang and Shashi found their flanks exposed and in a difficult position. To relieve themselves of this threat, they launched an offensive against the Chinese forces in late November. Japanese sources say the purpose was to probe to find the location of the army of Tang Enbo. If that was their purpose, they were to be disappointed. Preparations. During early November, the Japanese made preparations for their attack, repairing and constructing roads, bridges, defense works and airfields. Rations, ammunition, metal and rubber boats were stored in the vicinity of Chengxiang. They also brought in additional troops into the area west of the Xiang River, estimated at 5 regiments, bringing their strength to the equivalent of 3 divisions. To the east, the Japanese increased their strength to a full division at Suixian along the Xiang-Hua Highway. They further brought in supporting units of tanks and artillery in these areas. On the 23rd of November, the Japanese 11th Army preparations were complete and their unit deployed in their attack positions in 5 major forces. Kayashima Force at Tangyang, composed of the 18th Independent Mixed Brigade and elements of the 4th Division under Lt. Gen. Taka Kayashima, commander of the 18th Independent Mixed Brigade. Murakami Force at Qingmen, the 39th Division under its commander Lt. Gen. Kaisaka Murakami. Hirabayashi Force at Chengxiang, composed of a portion of the 17th Division and Kurahashi Detachment under the commander of 17th Division, Lt. General Morito Hirabayashi. Gen. Kenzo Katano, commander of the 4th Division. Teshima Force at Suixian, composed of the 3rd Division under its commander Lt. General Fusataro Teshima. Li Zongan, recognizing the Japanese build-up foretold an attack, had his 5th War Area alerted. He ordered the River West Army Group, Right Army Group and Central Army Group to checking the coming Japanese advance by counterattacks on the flanks of their advancing columns when the opportunity presented itself. Order of Battle: Central Hubei Operation. The offensive. On the morning of the 25th of November, the Japanese began their attack in several columns. On the western front between the Xiang River and Tangyang, over 1,000 Japanese from the Kayashima Force advanced northward from Tangyang toward Hengtian, and broke through the gap between the positions of the 179th and 37th Divisions of the Chinese 77th Corps at Yankai. Over 3,000 Japanese from Murakami Force from Qingmen broke through the positions of the 27th Division of the Chinese 30th Corps toward Yanqimiao. Meanwhile, the Japanese Katano Force, moving northwest from Chuchiafu to Tunglinling and divided into several columns to drive north deep into the Chinese position at Liangshui-Qing, Hsia Chiasu, and northeast toward Kwaihuopu. At night, the River West Army Group swung reserves into blocking positions from Hengtian to Yanqimiao and Kwaihuopu. On the 26th of November, the Murakami Force reached Xianchu. On the 27th of November, the Murakami Force attacked Luhukai and the 2 columns of Katano Force attacked Lichiatang. both fighting bitterly for a day against the Chinese 30th Corps Reserve, the 30th Division under Liu Chenshan, who halted their advance. At dusk, the Chinese 30th Corps launched a counterattack in force with elements of the 31st and 27th Divisions, striking the Japanese rear areas. Unable to withstand this attack, the Japanese retreated toward Qingmen and Chengxiang, with the Chinese in pursuit. Meanwhile, east of the Xiang River on the Qingcheng Highway front, the Japanese Hirabayashi force massed more than 3,000 men in an attack on Changshaodian and Wangqiatian, attempting to encircle the Changchia-Kai-Wulongquan line. On the 26th of November, the Japanese reinforced to 5,000 men, advanced a force east to Sanlikang, while the main force attacked Pianchai, Wangqiaho and Yunnan. Heavy fighting lasted until darkness ended the clash in a stalemate. On the 27th of November, the Chinese 44th Corps counterattacked from Wangqiaho. Its converging attack with the main force of the 67th Corps towards the northwest caused heavy casualties to the Japanese. On the 25th of November, the Japanese Teshima force on the Suishian front launched a violent attack with a column of 2,000 men from Liangchuiku on the Chinese 123rd Division at Lishan. Two additional columns of more than 1,000 men each advanced west toward Houyuan Tian and Qingmingpu. By darkness, the Japanese reinforced. On the 26th of November, the Japanese fought a bitter battle with the Chinese 124th and 127th Divisions at Qinkaishan and Qingmingpu. Another Japanese force of 700 to 800 men moved from Hsiho via Langhotian to Tangqiafan. Having been attacked by the 41st Corps, the Japanese in the vicinity of Qingmingpu linked up with their force at Qinkaishan and moved to the vicinity of Houyuanshan on the 27th of November. At night, the Japanese force near Tangqiafan reached the vicinity of Wantanchen to confront the Chinese 125th Division. Since its objective was to break the Japanese force, 5th War Area Command directed its forces to keep secure key localities and take advantage of mountainous terrain to conduct ambushes to stop the invaders. Heavy fighting lasted until the 28th of November, when the Japanese retreated. Chinese forces west of the Xiang River continued their pursuit. The Japanese force in front of the Chinese Right Army Group was routed on the same day, retreating by several routes. Subjected to a converging attack by Chinese forces of the Central Army Group, the Japanese forces facing them in the area of Houyuan Tian and Wantanchen fell back to high ground in the vicinity of Houyuan Tian and Tangqiafan and were encircled by the Chinese. The Japanese pulled a further 1,500–1,600 infantry and cavalry from Suishian and Yingshan via Shangshitian and Shatian for a turning movement against the Chinese to retrieve the situation. Once again, the Japanese were ambushed. Under cover of airplanes and armor, the Japanese retreated towards Suishian and Hsiho, as Chinese forces attacked along the line from Chanshuan to Anshu, Lishan, and Kaohsiung. On the 30th of November, the Chinese army groups recovered their original positions. Results: the Japanese operation resulted in the death of over 5,000 and the wounding of 7,000–8,000 Japanese. Over 1,000 bodies being left in the field according to Chinese sources. The Japanese had hoped to have a victory at the time of the establishment of the Wang Qingwei regime so as to dampen Chinese morale. The effect was the opposite of what was hoped.